Michelle.
And I'm Kylinda Adams.
And welcome to this evening's broadcast of Mason Cable News. Kylan, how's your week been so far?
My week's been pretty well, It's been pretty well. What about yourself?
It's been great. Because the Pope came to D.C., my classes were canceled.
Ooh.
So it was exciting.
Well, speaking of the Pope, if you weren't aware, Pope Francis was in D.C. today. We were just one stop on his U.S. tour. Mason's Catholic community was excited about the Pope's visit. Here's what they had to say about today's event.
This week will be a historic week for the nation's capital, the Pontiff's first stop on his trip to the United States.
Yeah, this is really exciting that the Pope is coming here. The previous Pope came 7 years ago. He had Mass at the brand new National Stadium, and then I was a young seminarian at Catholic University, and he visited there as well.
Francis is the leader of the Catholic Church and Bishop of Rome, a role dating back to the 1st century with the first Pope, St. Peter, an apostle of Jesus Christ. But why is Pope Francis so popular? Religion professor John Farina has the answer.
I think it's not only media, but it's the message and the style of Francis. His whole approach, again, we can expect some of these surprises. Not only in what he says, but how he does it. He's really a master. He'll break with tradition. He'll break out of the box that people want to put him in or want to put religion in. And I think many people might find this interesting and attractive.
I think it's important not just to read about what he says, but to actually read his words, to encounter him as a person, to read, if you can find a whole text of one of his sermons, I think to read that in its entirety and see not just some of the clips, but his message. I think it's going to be a message of love and mercy and forgiveness and proclaiming to us the basic message of Jesus Christ that began 2,000 years ago but never grows old.
I will be there because you will be there.
In Fairfax, Robert Horn, Mason Cable News.
The Pope isn't the only one stirring up conversation. On Monday, September 14th, Muslim teen Ahmed Mohammed brought a homemade clock to school to show his teacher. But his day ended in an arrest. The teacher, along with authorities, thought Ahmed was acting out a bomb hoax. The charges were dropped, however, he was still suspended until Thursday. Ahmed is considering transferring high schools. Many took to social media with the hashtag #IStandWithAhmed, including President Obama. MSA President Sarah Oliva released an executive statement to MCN on the incident, stating, "The arrest and suspension of 14-year-old Ahmed Mohammed for bringing a clock he built to school was not an isolated incident, but the embodiment of the fear and anxiety felt towards Muslims in U.S. today. Although diversity in numbers alone is not necessarily the solution, the lack of diversity, cultural competency, awareness, and ignorance fosters false stereotypes and bigotry. It is our duty as students, the future leaders of our nation, and members of humanity to recognize and eradicate the ignorance and replace it with more accurate perspectives. Islamophobia is not just a Muslim issue, it's a global issue. The MSA will stand with anyone who is targeted because of their faith, race, or heritage. The MSA stands with justice because justice leads to peace. We stand with equality and fairness. We stand with Ahmed."
On Monday, September 14th, there was an incident in Potomac Heights of a male intruder who compromised women's privacy and led to residents fearing for their safety. After the situation was resolved by Mason PD, residents were curious about how to react if there was a dangerous situation on campus. Here are 5 tips on how to stay safe in case of an intruder or an unsafe situation on campus. Number 1, have Mason PD's number and your RA's number saved in your phone. Number 2, keep pepper spray in your backpack or on your keychain. Number 3, do not open your door to someone you do not recognize. Number 4, walk in groups or pairs late at night. And number 5, be aware of your surroundings. If you feel unsafe or vulnerable, remove yourself from the situation. I think these are some pretty great tips.
I definitely agree. I keep a small pink pepper spray on my keychain just so nobody gets crazy.
That's good, because safety is what matters here at Mason. Well, wildlife is taking over the campus.
Yeah.
Find out that and what the class of 2019 is up to right after this commercial break.
Hey, and welcome back. So, Colin, have you noticed any wildlife on campus lately?
I actually have. Right outside the studio, I've seen like this sighting of deer around us.
Do you take pictures?
I do. Selfies.
Selfie. Well, at Mason, wildlife spotting has increased tremendously. One reason is because of the current construction happening in the Patriot Circle. The home to most animals was over in West Campus parking, but since the new renovations and opening of Campus Drive, animals have made their way over this way. If you see any wildlife on campus, feel free to take pictures, but please do take precaution.
Well, you know who else has taken the campus by storm? The class of 2019. Here is Kira White with the freshman corner.
Hey guys, it's Kira White coming to you from President's Park. We will be interviewing some freshmen about their first month of college. Stay tuned.
My first month of college here at Mason has been amazing. I was definitely nervous about how I would adjust, but I think it's been a pretty easy adjustment. I've met a lot of people, amazing people, done a lot of cool things.
My first month here at Mason has been really awesome. I've met a lot of really fun people, made a lot of good friends. Classes are an adjustment, different than they were in high school, but it's a really cool experience to learn new things, to see things in different perspectives.
I'm probably most excited about taking more psych classes because that's my major, and I love Psych 100 with my professor Keith Renshaw, and just having his class has made me really excited, and it's really like reaffirmed my passion for psychology, and so I'm just excited to see where that future takes me.
How does it feel to be a freshman RA? Well, it's definitely a lot of work, but I enjoy being with my floor and creating community, and also they're a lot of fun, and teaching them how to be successful in college makes me feel a bit good about myself, and knowing that I'm helping them out as well.
Electronic cigarettes. They look like real cigarettes, produce smoke like real cigarettes, but are they as deadly as real cigarettes? An electronic cigarette is a battery-operated vaporizer that makes one feel like they're smoking a real cigarette. Instead of producing real smoke, though, the electronic cigarette makes a vapor. Also, inside these electronic cigarettes is a liquid component, more commonly known as e-liquid. Many ingredients can range in these e-liquids, some being glycerin, water, nicotine, and flavorings. While in recent years, actual cigarette smokers have declined, but according to the CDC, the number of electronic cigarette smokers have been on the rise. This rise is especially seen in young people. With high school students, usage increased from 2013 to 2014 from 66,000 to 2 million students. With middle school students, usage actually tripled from 1.1% in 2013 to 3.9% in 2014. What are the dangers, though? Can electronic cigarettes cause the same damage as regular cigarettes? According to Science News, magazine of the Society for Science in the Public, electronic cigarettes do cause the same, if not more, damage to the human body. The magazine claims to say that research has found that using e-cigarettes may even make bacterial infections resistant to antibiotics. Also, electronic cigarettes are not regulated by the FDA for recreational use.
Change is inevitable among Black Mason this school year. Never seen before in the Black Student Alliance history, there will be 2 new executive board positions open for freshmen. These 2 lucky individuals will hold the title of Mr. and Miss Black Freshman Liaison. With Mason being a PWI, a predominantly white institution, there has been an issue in the past about retaining African American freshmen. If the BSA has an insight to what's going on in the freshman's life from none other than a freshman, the Black retention rate may increase and maybe even improve the Black population. We have to take a short break, but right after that break, we'll have our sports update with Sydney Peterson and our infotainment news with Najina Jerome.
Listening live to Improv for Mason here on WGMU Radio, heard WGMUradio.com.
You know, it wasn't my idea.
Today's show with our special guest interview for this team in the new conference.
Welcome to a special
It's been
edition of the
a
First
great
Pick.
transition for me personally. I love Mason.
The very talented David Keckner.
I'm great. How are you doing?
Reed, Jonah, it was a pleasure having you on the show today.
I did.
I'm Ben Simpson. On the phone today, we have Drew McGarry, successful author, writer. You're listening to WGMU Radio on WGMUradio.com.
Hello and welcome back to the MCN News. I'm Sydney Peterson and I'm glad to be back as your sports anchor again this semester. So now time to give you the news. On Monday, the men's soccer team defeated Longwood University with a final score of 1-0. The win was led by Matt Tucker's goal in the 56th minute of the game. This game is the third win so far of their season. This weekend, they will head to Baltimore to take on UMBC on Saturday. This past weekend, both tennis teams finished up their matches at the University of Mary Washington. The women's team won 12 matches and lost 8, and the men's team won 9 and lost 8 as well. The teams will have a chance to improve their scores this upcoming weekend as the women's team goes to play at the Loyola Invitational and the men go to play the Naval Academy. The women's volleyball team fought hard in Boulder, Colorado, but unfortunately fell to a loss of a final score of 3-1. They also have a chance, though, this weekend to revive their game as they head to D.C. to take on George Washington, opening up the Atlantic 10 competition. Well, that's all I have for you tonight, but I'll see you next week, Mason. Bye.
Hey Mason Nation, and welcome back for the fall semester, and I absolutely hope that your classes are going well. I'm so happy to be back on the couch and to be your source for entertainment news nationally as well as in the DMV area. So, kicking off our very first entertainment news story, Broadway superstar Bernadette Peters is actually coming to the George Mason campus, Fairfax, on Saturday, September 26th, and you definitely do not want to miss it. She is hailed as the foremost interpreter of Stephen Sondheim's music, and she's a 2-time Tony Award winner, and she's accompanied by a 10-piece orchestra to sing highlights from her long and illustrious career. Supposedly, the New York Times actually calls her the First Lady of Musical Theater, and she absolutely dazzles with her powerhouse voice and her sentimental songs, which just showcase it. Peters has actually left an amazing mark on the Broadway stage with her performances in Sondheim's Into the Woods, Gypsy, Sunday in the Park with George, A Little Night Music, and Follies, as well as her Tony Award-winning appearances in Song and Dance and Angie, Get Your Gun. The Washington Post recently said Bernadette Peters is one of the glories of the modern American musical theater. You definitely don't want to miss this amazing opportunity to meet a Broadway icon. There will be pre-performance discussions by Christopher D. Amboise, who is a School of Dance faculty member, before the show. Tickets are $100, $85, and $60. I suggest you get them now before they run out. And don't forget, one student ticket is available with a valid Mason ID. Next weekend, Virginia Opera season actually begins with Offenbach's rollicking and irreverent operetta, which is a romp through heaven and hell, which spins one of the most famous ancient Greek tragedies into a witty satire. Basically, Orpheus is unhappy in his marriage to his wife, so they pursue like these exciting relationships with new lovers, but Eurydice's new beau is actually the god of death in disguise. And then she's whisked away to the underworld, and Orpheus is actually perfectly content with this arrangement, but eventually he has to go retrieve his wife. Big deal. Meanwhile, when the bored and rebellious gods of Mount Olympus decide to pay a visit down below to make sure that things are okay, and to partake in some forbidden festivities, all hell actually does break loose. Orpheus was considered quite scandalous by Parisian high society when it first premiered in 1858, but its magnificent melodies, risque humor, and its lively Inferno Gallop just launched the French dancehall craze known as the Can-Can, which is actually a farcical comic operetta and one hell of a party. It's sung in English but has English subtitles, and performances will take place on October 3rd at 8 p.m. and October 4th at 2 p.m. There will be pre-performance discussions with members of the cast before each show. Tickets are $98, $80, and $48, but one free student ticket is available with a valid Mason ID. Okay, everyone, so I know today is hump day, and we almost made it, and the week is almost over, and if you happen to have some downtime and exams aren't absolutely killing you, especially your schoolwork, then I suggest you pick up a new show. So, Fox's Scream Queens premiered actually yesterday at 8 p.m., and Ryan Murphy actually said in a meeting, what if we mashed up Glee and American Horror Story into one show?
So that's basically what happened, and this horror show could be ridiculous enough and actually funny to watch, especially with familiar faces like Lea Michele, Jamie Lee Curtis, Emma Roberts, and Nick Jonas in the cast. Also, the highly publicized show Quantico premieres this Sunday, the 27th at 10. So get out the popcorn and let's hope it doesn't disappoint. You're probably glued to your television screen for the Emmys on Sunday night. The 2015 Emmys was definitely the entertainment news highlight this week, as so many celebrities just made history and racked up major recognition. Uza Aduba actually won for Best Supporting Actress because of her performance in Orange is the New Black, and she made us weep with her emotions. Congratulations. Amy Schumer's show Inside Amy Schumer actually won for Outstanding Variety Sketch Series, but the highlight for me had to have been when Viola Davis made history as the very first African-American woman to win Outstanding Lead Actress in a TV series. She stirred up so many emotions because as she was the first African-American woman to win Best Actress in a drama series, she just spoke out against the difficulties Black women face in traditionally Caucasian roles. And she said, "You cannot win an Emmy for roles that are simply not there." Which is amazing. And not only did she amaze me with her strength, but she inspired me even further to chase my dreams. So you go, girl, and thank you for your amazing performance in How to Get Away with Murder. Well, I hope you had a great rest of the week, Mason Nation, and I'm Gina Jerome, and I'll see you next week on the couch.
Well, being a freshman here, I'm supposed to gain the freshman 15, but I'm determined not to. So, for those of you who don't want to gain the freshman 15, here's some healthy tips to help you keep that. First, drink water. It helps, keep you hydrated and everything, keeps you well balanced. Be sure to incorporate all food groups into that one meal. Snacking throughout the day helps you eat less when it's time for a meal. And, everything is okay in moderation. And lastly, stay active. Get involved with different activities to keep you busy.
Those sound like great tips.
I agree. I know for me, going to the gym is just, not only is it helping me stay active and helping my overall health, but it's just a great way to, clear my head from the day, all the stress with, school and everything going on, and just
definitely
relieve some stress and relax a little bit.
Yeah, it's always great to relax. I know for myself, I like to go the sugar-free route.
Definitely, always good decision. Yeah. Sugar's good, but one of those that good in moderation.
Very, very true.
Well, that's all we have for you today here at MCN News, but be sure to stay tuned and to hear Noticiero GMU, where we will have our top 5 stories in Spanish.
And also be sure to follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Mason Cable Network to see all of our daily updates, as well as other shows produced here in the studio. Thanks for watching MC News. I'm Kylan Adams.
I'm Ariel Thornhill.
And I'm Sydney Peterson.
Have a great night, Mason.
Hoy es miércoles 23 de septiembre de 2015. Hola, ¿qué tal? Bienvenidos al noticiero GMU. Les saluda Ismar Ventura. Comenzamos con la historia de un niño que fue arrestado en Irving, Texas, por llevar un reloj a la escuela secundaria MacArthur, porque su maestra creyó que era una bomba. El estudiante Ahmed Mohammed, de 14 años, dice que él simplemente quería mostrar su invento, pero que en lugar fue esposado y llevado a un centro de detención de menores en el cual fue acusado por construir una bomba falsa. Mohammed habló con el periódico de la mañana de la ciudad de Dallas después de lo sucedido sobre su pasatiempo y el arresto. Mohammed cita: "Mi pasatiempo es inventar cosas y por ende construí un reloj para mostrarlo en mi clase. Quise mostrar algo pequeño, sin embargo todo tomó un mal turno y me arrestaron por construir una bomba falsa. Yo nunca dije que tenía una bomba, ya que ni siquiera mencioné la palabra bomba. Mohammed fue suspendido de la escuela y ahora el Consejo de Relaciones Americanos Islámicas está investigando. Jefe de la policía Irving Larry Boyd dijo el miércoles que Mohammed no será acusado de poseer una bomba falsa porque no hay evidencia de que tenía la intención de causar ningún daño. La etiqueta "Yo estoy con Ahmed" está circulando en las redes sociales. Y ayer en la universidad fue el día de reunirse con los candidatos para el gobierno estudiantil de la universidad. Los candidatos que están corriendo para las elecciones y reelecciones el 3 de noviembre se reunieron en la Plaza Norte entre las 2 y 5 de la tarde. La reunión Conozca el Día de Candidatos fue presentada por Votos Mason, George Mason Democrats, Represent Mason y GMU Poder Estudiantil. Y para todos los que están interesados en tener una dieta mejor en el campus, estos son los 5 cosas que deben seguir. Cómo desayunar antes todos los días. Escoja una variedad de alimentos. 3. Coma cada 3 horas. 4. Escoja porciones razonables. Y 5. Tome mucha agua y lea las calorías. En otras noticias, Mason recibe una donación de $920,000 para un entrenamiento para la intervención de abuso de sustancias. El abuso de sustancias y servicios de salud mental concede la subvención a Mason como parte de los esfuerzos de la agencia para aumentar el uso de un método específico de abordar el abuso de sustancias llamada detención, intervención breve y tratamiento de referencia. La donación proporcionará capacitación a estudiantes y profesionales en la primera línea de tratamiento de las personas con problemas de abuso de sustancias. Nuestro enfoque transdisciplinario anima a los grupos interprofesionales de los estudiantes a ir más allá de los límites de sus propias disciplinas, dijo la profesora de enfermería Mason, Laura Peppard, investigadora principal de la subvención y directora de servicios de salud mental para las clínicas de MAP. El entrenamiento comienza este otoño. Además de la formación de estudiantes, Mason Facultad tiene el objetivo de capacitar de 200 a 300 representantes de organizaciones de la comunidad. Y ahora con una noticia emocionante. US News da altas calificaciones para estudiantes innovadores y comprometidos. George Mason está empatado en el lugar 135 en rankings de universidades de 2016 nacionales frente a los 38 del año pasado y 6 puntos más en el 2014. Comparte su posición con la Universidad de Howard, de la Universidad de Hofstra de Long Island, la Universidad de Ohio y Oregon State University. The News y World Report de Estados Unidos es el último galardón de Mason, que recientemente fue clasificada como una de las 200 mejores universidades del mundo y entre las 100 primeros en los Estados Unidos. Así nos despedimos, patrióticos. Los esperamos la próxima semana. Gracias por acompañarnos. Para Noticiero GMU, reportó Ismar Ventura. Hasta la próxima, George Mason.